Good morning, students. This is Dr. Kasturi from Wales University. Today we are going to see the subject software engineering. We can get into the subject. We're going to see block 2, software cost estimation. Under that, we are going to see unit 6. Before unit 6, we have seen functional requirements and non-functional requirements. After that, we are seeing now software requirements document and requirement specification. What is the main objective of this unit? This unit explains software requirement specification, we usually call as SRS, software requirement specification, and its importance. Software requirements document and the steps involved in preparing that requirement specification is given in detail. Okay. First of all, what is software requirements document? What is that? We are going to see the definition. A software requirements document, often called as a software requirement specification, that is SRS, is a document that describes the intended use cases, features, and challenges of a software applications. What are the needed for the software application? What are the use cases? What are the features needed? What are the use cases needed? What are the challenges of the software application? Everything is going to be recorded in this document. And is a document that captures complete description about how the system is expected to perform. Complete description of the requirements. It is usually signed off at the end of the requirements engineering phase. These documents are created before the project has started development. Yes, before the project development, the document should be created. After the creation of documentation document, that is SRS, they'll be moving on to the project development. In order to get all the stakeholders on the same page regarding the software's functionality. Who are all the stakeholders who are involved in the software development? Programmers, team leads, manager, customer, even the client is also the stakeholder who was involved in that. Okay. Therefore, why a software requirements document is important? Why it is important? It provides an important map of the product being built, the features that will be included, and much more. Okay, roadmap of the product, the features, and much more will be included in the documentation. What the roadmap does? It helps us to keep the technical and non-technical team on the same wavelength. Yes, for a product, only technical team is not needed for a software product to be developed. Both the technical and non-technical teams are needed. Non-technical teams means what? The client side, customer side. Technical team side is the development side, programmers, testers, everybody comes under that. Okay. Both of them should have a same wavelength. Therefore, there should be a need of document called software requirement specification SRS, so that they can meet the expected product. It helps to ensure that the product is built meeting the needs, whether it's for internal purposes, for users or clients. Yes. Whether the product built, software is built, is for their own use for the software development company, for their own purposes, that is for internal purposes, or for the outsiders, or for the users or clients, for others. Either the software can be built for their own purpose or for some other purpose. Own purpose is called as internal purposes. Okay. Then comes the software requirements document. Yes. In that software requirements document, we have these things to be recorded: purpose, intended audience, intended use, scope, definitions and acronyms, overall description, user needs, assumptions and dependencies. Now we can see what are they. What is the purpose? Yes, set the expectation for the outcome of the product. What is going to be the outcome of the software product will be recorded in the purpose. And intended audience, who is going to use the software? Who is the software for? Who is the end user who is going to use that? Will the software be used internally at a company or externally? Okay, this thing should be recorded. Intended use. What is the purpose of the software? What is the intention of the software, and what the problem is it solving? What problem it is solving? Everything should be recorded. Scope. Explain the scope of the software, goals and objectives of the software. How do they relate to the company goals? Everything. These things are recorded. Definitions and acronyms. Definitions. Provide overview of any definitions the reader should understand. And what are the acronyms used? Everything should be recorded here. Overall description. Describe what we are building and for who. Will be recorded here. User needs. Yes, explain the user needs for this software. Basic needs of the user to develop this software. Assumptions and dependencies. What assumptions are we making that could cause an error in our approach? Is the project reliant on any other factors? What are the assumptions we do, and what are the dependencies we have to rely the factors, any other factors by which we depend to create this project, and that also affect the development of the software. These are the things comes under software requirements document. And next comes the system features and requirements. Okay. In system features and requirements, we'll be dealing with functional requirements, external interface requirements, system features, non-functional requirements. Functional requirements, we already see in the last unit, that is, define the functional requirements or the functionality of the system that are essential for the software to build. Actually, it takes more time to define the functional requirements. And next comes the external interface requirements. Yes, we define UX and UI. UI is user interfaces. Okay. What is an interface? Is between the user and the system, the developer software. Therefore, what are the requirements? User interface requirements we will be discussing here. And UX is the what user experience. UX defines the user experience of the software. Okay, are there any user experience and user interface requirements? Yes, after the user experience, you will give some more requirement. Therefore, user experience and user interface requirements, both of them should be also keep in mind whenever you build a software. System features. What features are required for the software to work? What are all the features? And non-functional requirements, yeah. Apart from functional requirements, non-functional requirements like budget, time, team, size, everything comes under non-functional requirements. And what are the qualities of SRS? SRS is what? Software requirement specification. What are the qualities of SRS? We are going to see this. Yes, correctness, unambiguous, complete, consistent, ranked for importance and stability, verifiable, modifiable, and traceable. These are the qualities of a software requirement specification. We are going to see one by one. What is correctness? How do we check the correctness of a product? Okay. User review is used to provide the accuracy of the requirements. Actually, how do we check the correctness of the requirement? What are the requirements, actually the needs of the customer? How do we check? By the customers, by the user itself. User review is used to provide the accuracy of requirements stated in the SRS. Yes, all the requirements will be stated in the SRS of a requirement specification, contains a list of requirements specification, and we will check the accuracy by the user review. Okay. SR is said to be perfect if it covers all the needs that are truly expected from the system. Yes, when it will be perfect if it covers, it will satisfy all, if it satisfy all the needs of the system, then it is perfect. Completeness. The SRS is complete if and only if it includes the following elements. All essential requirements, whether relating to functionality, performance, design, constraints, attributes, or external interfaces. All essential requirements. And then it also defines the realizable classes of input data. What type of data I'm going to give, and what are the category of data, what categories of data I'm going to give as input, and what class of data and in which situation. These are things to be defined in the SRS. Then only it will be complete. Labels, references, figures, diagrams, everything should be recorded so that the SRS is complete. And what is consistency? No subset of individual requirements described in its conflict. There are three types of possible conflict that can occur in SRS. First one is the specified characteristics of real world object may conflicts. For example, the format of an output report may be described in one requirement as tabular, that is table format, but in another as textual format. Same way, one condition may state that all lights shall be green, while some other condition may state that all lights shall be blue. Okay. Then there may be a reasonable or temporal conflict between the two specified actions. For example, one requirement may determine that the program will add two inputs. Another requirement may determine that the program will multiply them. Another example, one condition may state that A must always follow B, while other requires A and B co-occurs. The third one is two or more requirements may define the same real-world object but use different terms. For example, the user input may be called as prompt. Always use a prompt to enter some value. That may be called as prompt in one requirement and Q in another requirement. Therefore, the use of standard terminology and descriptions promotes consistency. There should be a standard terminology and description. Therefore, the document should be in the consistent format and it promotes the consistency. And next comes the unambiguousness. Next quality of SRS is unambiguousness. Ambiguousness is what? Not clear. Unambiguousness is clear. Yes, SR is clear when every fixed requirement has only one interpretation. In SRS, we have n number of requirements. Okay. Therefore, each and every requirement should have one interpretation, not more than that. Therefore, it suggests that each element is uniquely interpreted. In case there is a method used with multiple definitions, then the requirements report should determine the implications in the SRS. What are the causes in SRS so that it is clear and simple to understand. And next quality is the ranking for importance and stability. Among the n number of software requirements, we can group them into importance and stability. Each requirement can be grouped as importance or which comes under importance or stability. How it can be done is each and every requirement has an identifier to indicate either the significance or stability, so that they can be grouped as importance requirements and stable requirements. Okay, all requirements are not equally important, definitely. Some prerequisites may be essential, especially for life critical applications. They are very much important, while some others are desirable. They may be needed whenever. Okay. Each element should be identified to make these differences clear and explicit. Which are all important, which are all stable requirements. Another way to rank requirements is to distinguish classes of items as three: essential requirements, conditional requirements, and optional requirements. Okay. And the next quality is modifiability. Yes, the SRS should be modifiable. based upon the user demands, user need of changing requirements. SRS should be modifiable. It should be capable of quickly obtain changes to the system to some extent. But keep on changing, it should not happen. The product will not end up. Therefore, to some extent, that can be, the SRS can be modified. Okay. Modification should be perfectly indexed and class reference. Yes, whatever we'll be recording SRS, but when we change the SRS, do some modification in SRS, we should also record that. We should index and cross reference that properly. Okay. And next comes the verifiability. Yes, we are checking whether SRS is correct or not. SRS is done properly or not. How do we do that? SRS is correct when the specified requirements can be verified with the cost-effective system to check whether the final software meets those requirements. How do we tell that SRS is proper, SRS is correct? Whenever the SRS meets with the final requirements. The final system functionality meets the SRS, then it is the SRS is satisfied. SRS is accurate. How do we do that? With the help of reviews. How do we check the system functionality? It is relying on the SRS. How do we tell that system is working relying on the SRS? Whatever spec the customer has given is completely satisfied in the functionality by doing the n number of reviews. The user with the help of the user reviews. Okay. The requirements are verified with the n number of the user reviews. Okay. And the last quality of the SRS is traceability. Yes. Requirements traceability is the tracking of requirements throughout the product development lifecycle. Definitely. The requirements should be done in action. Therefore, it should be traced whether it is satisfied, whether it has been covered throughout the product development life cycle. The SRS is traceable if the origin of each of the element requirements is clear. Yes, it is traceable. When each and every requirement is clear, it is very easy to trace. It is documented thread that provides forward and backward visibility into all activities surrounding each requirement. That is, including design, development, testing, and support. All these activities we can able to trace in design, in development, in testing, and support also. And what is the advantage of traceability? Requirement traceability helps minimizes the risk of negative outcome. When we trace it properly, when we trace from the system functionality to the requirement specification, then we are minimizing the negative outcome. We are going in the right way and maximizes productivity. Okay, these are the qualities of a SRS. In this unit, as a summary, in this unit explains the requirement specification, its importance, software requirement document, and the steps involved in requirement specification are given in detail. And these are the possible questions. What are the importance of a software requirements document? Qualities of SRS, software requirement specification, and steps of software requirement specification. Thank you, students. Have a nice day.